As I've gotten older, I can't see shit, but my vision has improved dramatically. Do not, under any circumstances, hand me a menu in a dark restaurant and expect that I'm going to be able to read it. That's not going to happen. But I feel like I could see into the future. I could see a lot more clearly. I could see into the distance a lot better. Not to imagine this is just, obviously, it's due to age, my decline in eyesight, but increase in vision. And I suppose that's a worthwhile or a fair trade. Haven't gotten to the point where I've got the readers yet, but stay tuned. My vision tells me that my sight will require such assistance in probably sooner rather than later. But you get the idea. So, can't see very well, but my vision is a lot better. And just in the last couple of years, too, just started to sort of figure things out a little bit more, see a lot more clearly. There's always been things in the way, so I wonder, is it that I can see better, or have I just gotten certain things out of the way? That's interesting. I don't necessarily know the answer to that one. It's probably a combination of both of those things. Or having better vision allows you or demands or helps you to unclutter your life and get rid of those obstacles that are blocking you seeing what is of greatest value, what is most important, what matters at all. It's getting rid of that stuff, just not looking at it anymore. Maybe those things are still there, but I just don't see them. That's probably what it is, because they haven't gone away. I'm just not looking at them anymore. And that's of value, certainly, and a sense or evidence that I am, in fact, maturing as a human being. Had to happen sometime, didn't it? Maybe. So being myopic, myopia, in a very, very broad sense, simply means that you have a narrow perspective, that you are taking a short-sighted view of things, physically, in terms of what you actually see, or metaphorically, in terms of our perspective on life and our decision making, how we're prioritizing things, what we are placing more value on, all of those kinds of things. So acting in a myopic fashion means that you are making decisions that are based on short-sighted things, short-term gains, immediate versus long-term, understanding that there are consequences to our actions in the short term and investments are required over the long term to actually get a life of substance and meaning and value and feeling like you are doing something that is important and living an important and fulfilled life. So it can be super dangerous when you put in the context of personal finance, making short-term financial decisions, relationships, cutting corners with your relationship, making short-term decisions. Really, 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 really everything. Certainly from a societal standpoint, from an environmental standpoint, all of it. If I can't see past my nose, I'm going to have a pretty hard time being successful. If I can't get past myself, my needs, the short-term needs, I'm suffering from myopic thinking. So think about for your money. Somebody may act myopically by spending all of their money, living paycheck to paycheck on immediate pleasures, avoiding saving and investment. Because what's going to happen is when you do spend all your money, you are robbing Peter to pay Paul in this example. Peter would be your your future self, yourself down the road, and Paul would be your desire to buy the new shiny thing that you really want to buy. In business, it's easy to focus on quarterly profits. You think about, well, I think one of the big problems that we have, one of the biggest challenges with publicly traded companies is that they need to report their earnings and just their numbers on a quarterly basis. And that then will make their shareholders happy slash unhappy. There's just going to be some kind of a response to their quarterly earnings, their quarterly reports. And if we don't think that that's going to result in short-term decision making, then we're wrong, which is why there's a lot more companies that are deciding to remain private because then they don't need to answer to Wall Street or whatever on a quarterly basis. Certainly anybody that's been in business or wants to get into business knows that you must take a long-term view to these things. With relationships, when you're myopic, you're just thinking about what your immediate wants are, what your immediate frustrations are. And that causes you to ignore the long-term health of the relationship. So, I mean, you think about it in politics, unfortunately, if you are a United States congressman or congresswoman, you're a representative. You've really got short terms. You're in there for 2 years. If you're a senator, you've got longer. You've got 6 years. The president, it's 4 years, but you only have 2 terms. That just causes a lot of short-term thinking, a lot of short-term decision making, short-term legislation. Whether or not it's accurate or not, and there's no reason to use a specific example, but let's think about it in terms of here in the United States, we have our body politic is full of people who are constantly campaigning, constantly fundraising, versus acting and doing what is in the greatest interest of the citizens. And then you have an opposite country that is perhaps run by a queen. And queen is going to be in power for 50 years. Well, then you're able to make decisions that are based on a much longer term time horizon than on your 2-year time horizon. So I'm not advocating that we get rid of term limits. In fact, I think that that's evidence that we should, in fact, have term limits. So that people aren't constantly trying to win re-election every year and that they're focused on doing the work that they've been elected to do, keep the promises that they made during their campaign. But you get the idea. Short-term thinking, bad. Long-term thinking, good. So, personal life, it's you and I prioritizing showing off our wealth, showing off our happiness rather than focusing on actions and habits that can actually create lasting happiness and lasting wealth. Would you rather appear to be wealthy or actually be wealthy? And all too often, I'd just rather appear to be wealthy. Business and politics, again, publicly traded companies face pressure from shareholders to deliver immediate short-term results, which can result in cutting corners, neglecting quality, just making decisions that will help drive the bottom line over the short term, but will not do so over the long term. So what happens? Well, when we engage in that kind of short-term behavior, it keeps us stuck in a cycle of reactive decision making. It's not going to build any kind of a lasting foundation. So what do? How do we avoid this? How do we escape this kind of behavior? Well, fundamentally, it's knowing what matters. So it's making a decision. This is what is important to me. This is what's important to my company. This is what's important to the country. And then doing what is necessary in service of what we've decided is the most important thing. So from there, we need to engage in second order thinking and not just thinking about, again, what is just right in front of me. Daniel Kahneman talks about thinking fast and slow. The fast is my impulsive reactions, my emotional reactions, my knee-jerk responses to situations. Long-term or slow thinking is rational, long-term, logical decision-making. Again, based on what is most important. So if we can never get past first-order thinking, which is the short-term, instant gratification, dopamine rushes and hits, well, we're never going to get anywhere. We're going to be exactly where we are, except worse. Right now, we are just broke. We are unhealthy. by most every measure, we're not doing well. And it's because we are prisoner of the moment on all this stuff. At least I think. We're engaging in myopic short-term thinking versus second order long-term thinking about what is of greatest importance, what matters. So it's discipline. None of this is easy. It is knowing what matters and then having the discipline to align my decision making with what is most important so that we're not falling into that trap of immediate consequences. So I think that I know there's this concept called reverse budgeting, and it's a powerful tool in personal finance that just makes sure that what matters most to you gets prioritized first, financially and from a time perspective. So if getting out of debt is your number one thing, you make sure that you're funding your path to becoming debt free before you fund anything else. You say this is paramount. This is the most important thing. And then fill the rest in. So it's a great way to also live intentionally. So if you say that, you know what, my kids are the most important thing to me. So from a reverse budgeting standpoint, I would then go in and calendar kids most important. That is what I've decided matters the most. And now I must do what is required in service of that. So it's one-on-one, at least an hour every week or 10 minutes a day. Whatever it is that you've decided must be done in service of having a great relationship with your kids, you then schedule that. So you put it into your actual calendar. I mean, obviously, there's no guarantee that just putting something into your calendar is going to make it happen, but it increases your chances of that thing happening exponentially. It's just like goal setting. Yeah, I've got goals, but you don't really. You've never written them down. Only 3% of people have their goals written down. Yeah, my family is really important to me. My kids are really important to me. Well, where's the evidence of that? It's not in your calendar. So if you put it in there, is that going to actually make it happen? No, but you're positioning yourself for success. It's a great way to live and operate intentionally and to position yourself to get the life that you actually want, not just what's right in front of your nose. Me hungry, me eat, me go to McDonald's drive-through, me sad, me buy things. So you get the idea. If you're interested in being a healthy person, you don't eat at the drive-through. You don't eat, you do not consume fast food. And if you do, it better be rare. So there's so many different examples of that. So scheduling your most important activities like workouts, date nights, time with kids, it reinforces their significance. It's a way, goes beyond simply saying that something is important and you're actually taking concrete action. So we've got our most valuable resources: time, energy, attention, and money. And they're of value because they are rare. We don't think that air is very valuable because it's free. But if we didn't have it, then it would become the most valuable thing. So your time, your energy, your attention, your money, we must treat these as if they are valuable. So when you look at from a perspective of what is the most important thing for your family, short-term thinking would be focusing just on reacting to the daily events, hurriedly organizing and trying to get dinner on the table or getting out the door and going to the whatever. Instead, taking a long-term view on this would be scheduling quality time as your top priority. So from that reverse budgeting standpoint, it's calendaring family activities first, regular family dinners, activities on the weekends, whatever. From a community standpoint, I mean, short-term thinking would be volunteering for things that just feel good rather than committing to causes that make a longer impact. So it's virtue signaling and saying that you support XYZ. You put a hashtag or a flag in your bio on social media. That's not doing it. That's not doing anything. That's BS virtue signaling nonsense. You cleaning up your parks on a weekly basis or a quarterly basis or an annual basis. You doing things with your religious community or whatever it is, whatever it is, things that are actually going to move the needle and getting those scheduled. I mean, from a financial standpoint and your career standpoint, oh my goodness, there are so many different things that we can do that just are short term, short order thinking, first order thinking. Most of what we do, most of what we do. Long term says, okay, what is most important? I'd like to be able to buy a house. Okay, so how much do I need to be saving to get to the down payment that I need? I really want to be out of debt. So understanding, okay, here's the amount of credit card debt that I have. Here's how long it's going to take me based on how much I can put towards it on a monthly basis. Retirement, oh my goodness, I need to save well over $1 million if I'm ever going to be able to step away from full-time work. So how in the world am I ever going to do that? Well, it just needs to be scheduled. And in this perspective, from your personal finances, that is paying yourself first, which is actually automating contributions to whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you automate contributions to your credit cards to pay the balances down. You automatically make contributions to your 401k. You automatically make contributions into your savings account to save up your emergency fund. There's lots of different ways to do it. From a well-being perspective, I mean, my goodness, we are awash with fad diets and extreme workouts and blah, 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 so much self-care nonsense. All that's required on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, is to eat fewer calories than you're burning and to exercise and move your body. And that's obviously really, really hard. So we have to plan for these things. We have to prioritize exercise and movement, whatever it might be. And meal prepping is a wonderful way to make sure that we are consuming the proper foods. We're putting the right things into our body and avoiding the wrong things. All require effort and discipline. But effort and discipline are the evidence that these things matter. So you say that they matter, but you're absolutely doing nothing that proves that they matter. Just lip service, which is bullshit. Personal development, same stuff, all of it. I don't need to go through examples for all of these, but for your personal development, for your peace of mind, all of these things. You say it's important. Where's the evidence? When you incorporate the reverse budgeting idea, which again is simply deciding this is the thing that's most important, and then it actually goes into my calendar. So I'm putting it on there and I'm designating and intentionally saying this is what is most important. So you're practically proactively designing your life around your highest priorities, not just reacting to the things that come your way. The lives that we want are a lot closer than we realize. And things can change really quickly. So fast. When you have kids, everybody says, oh, it goes so fast. It goes so fast. And I can see where it could. I can see where if you're just getting led around by your nose and letting the tail wag the dog, that it would go really fast. Oh, wow, that was a blur. Where did the time go? Well, you wasted it. That's where it went. You wasted your time. And when you waste your time, you're wasting your life. Heavy stuff today. But we need to expand our vision. You might not be able to see shit either, but how's your vision? Can you see beyond the immediate? Are you even trying to see beyond the immediate? In some ways, I feel like I'm pretty burned out on a lot of this stuff. And I'm also really excited about it because I appreciate that so many things are changing so quickly and for the better. And I'm heartened by the fact that and the reality that once you do make the decision that I'm going to change the way that I behave, I'm going to change the way that I think, and I'm going to start living more on purpose. I'm going to start expanding my horizon, both from a time perspective and a visual, and refocus on what really does matter. and then treat the things that matter like they matter by investing my most valuable resources into those things that are of greatest importance to me. And when you do that, you're going to see things start to change. Many virtuous things are going to start to happen. And that's really what this is. This is a conversation about virtue because I can very easily blow through my time, my attention, my energy, and money in things that are superfluous, in things that are trivial, in things that just do not matter at all. The superficial, the dopamine hits, the sugar highs. But you're not going to do that. You're going to focus and do the things that matter the most because they're the things that matter the most. As always, do your part by doing your best.